Hello, how's it going? I'm just having a bit of trouble setting up the stream thing. I don't think it's working on TikTok. It says that I've been banned from TikTok Live, so I don't know why that is, but I can figure that out later. It says try again in 4 hours, so it might be a bug rather than actually getting banned, which would be a bit cringe, wouldn't it, really? Getting banned from TikTok Live for coding on stream. We've got Kobe watching on Instagram. Hello, how's it going? And then I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook potentially as well. I think Facebook doesn't seem to be working though, so maybe it's not on Facebook. No. The Facebook one's not live. CBT streams. Hello. How's it going? I've been posting like clips of the last streams on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and they've been doing surprisingly well. So I'm going to keep doing that. But this stream, I'm going to go through some of the comments from TikTok and YouTube and do some of the features that they mention on there. The Facebook clips are good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've sort of been just streaming on everywhere because obviously you have different people on different platforms that see in different places. It just kind of makes sense to stream everywhere all at the same time. I think there's a vertical stream going to some platforms and then horizontal to some others, which is quite cool that you can stream in both at once. Alright, let's jump over and have a look at what we've got going on with the game. Let's see. Cool. So this is Visual Studio that we're using to code the game, and then we're making it also in Unity, which is here. If I hit play, I can just show you what we got from the last stream. It is kind of mind-blowing to stream both at the same time. It's crazy. It like splits the screen in my streaming software, and you can move things around to like set out both layouts at the same time. I think you needed to pay a subscription to Streamlabs to be able to do it, but I just figured it was worth it doing it. I think it's only like 20 quid a month or something, but it's not that much for like a hobby, I suppose, that you enjoy doing. Alright, so we've started playing the game. I'm going to press, well, I'll make it full screen so you can see actually. Cool. Press start game, it spawns you in a player and you got health, and then you can go and kill the enemies. And they'll just keep spawning in. You can't kill them faster than they can spawn in though, so eventually there'll be quite a lot of them on the screen. If I just hang about here, you should see more and more enemies arrive. And then if I touch an enemy, it should hurt me. Yeah, see, my health's going down. Actually, I think there is an end state. I think it's possible to beat the game. I think there's so many enemies that will spawn in. It looks like this is the full amount. If you kill them all, I think it just says like game won. Maybe it doesn't. Actually, I think because the camera doesn't move, they might be just off screen slightly. Yeah, there's an enemy down there. Let's try and figure out where they are so we can shoot them. They're up here slightly. There you go, I'm hitting them. Killed them. You have won. Nice. So if I press restart game, it just restarts it. And then you can also lose by running out of health. So if I just touch the enemy, it'll just keep damaging me every so long. And then it says you have lost and you can restart game. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to go through my TikTok and see the comments people left, because they had some ideas for things to add or do differently. There were some good suggestions in there. So let's have a look on my TikTok comments. It doesn't tell you how many comments once you click on the videos, so I'm going to have to kind of jump through. Oops, let me just mute them as well so we don't have to listen to two of me talking. There's no suggestions on that one. I think it's just going to autoplay. I don't know how you mute tab easily. There we go, I figured out how to do it. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we've got some suggestions on this one. Just suggestions to add enemies, but we already added enemies in the previous stream on that one. Not on that one. I think it's on the more recent ones. Okay, so on this one we've got add attack or combat manager. We've got that because we've got the shooting now. So these are older ones where we didn't have as much done. Let's see. Alright. We have a suggestion here to add an object pool. And they say you should never spawn objects in and delete them without having a pool, because it's like really bad for the memory if you keep deleting and spawning in new objects. So what you're supposed to do is to just deactivate the object, keep it in a pool, and then reactivate it again when you next need one of those objects. So the obvious version of that is for the bullets. So when you're spawning in a bullet, don't create a new one, just keep a big pool of bullets and just use things from that pool when you need them. So let's do that. And also what we could do even is we could make a kind of a generic pool so that we can have our enemies come from the same pool and our bullets and other things that we make in future. So I will go to prefabs, I'll throw our game manager into here, and our enemy spawner, we don't use that anymore. So I'm going to delete that because we've switched to using this instead, this enemy manager. And then, yeah, we'll add stuff to this game manager script. So we're going to create a new object, and we'll call it pool manager. Cool. So pool manager. I think we can just make a pool manager that will handle any type of object automatically, rather than doing like a bullet pool and then an enemy pool and then keep having to add extra things. We can just have this one script hopefully handle everything in theory. So how would we do that? We basically need a... This is going to be tricky actually, thinking about it. Okay, let's do it step by step. So first of all, we need spawn how will we do it? We'll call this spawn an object from pool. So we'll do public game object spawn from pool, and then we'll have game object prefab, and then yeah, we'll take a vector free position and quaternion rotation, and then this is what Copilot has suggested. We don't want it to do this. It was a good suggestion, but it's not quite right. What we want it to do is first check if prefab is already in pool. So how will we do that? We basically need a list of almost like a dictionary, but not quite a dictionary. We need maybe it is a dictionary that we need. We need a dictionary of game objects, which will be the prefab, and then a queue of game objects which will be called a pool dictionary. You thought it said poo manager. I'm quite sad to let you know that it doesn't say that. It's not that type of game, unfortunately. I'll zoom in so you can see a bit better what we're doing. Pool dictionary, and we'll make this equal a new dictionary of game objects and queue game objects. So I've not really used queue before. I think I've used it like maybe 1 or 2 times, so we'll have to discover what this does as we code it, which is usually the way that I work. Alright, so on awake we will make a new dictionary equals that. Let's see. So we need to check if the prefab is already in our dictionary. So we can do if pool dictionary contains key prefab, then we know it is already in the dictionary. Prefab already in pool. Else it's not. So we need to create it. Equals new queue of game objects. Yeah. So if it's not in here, add it to the dictionary and we make a new queue of game objects. And then we want to do pool dictionary dot prefab dot add enqueue. I suppose enqueue. Instantiate, then prefab position rotation There we go. If it's not in the pool, add it to the pool and add it to the queue. That makes sense, I think. Then here, if it's already in the pool, oh, look at this. If pool dictionary prefab dot count is more than 0, that means there is one available, so we can reuse it. Okay. So we'll not call it obj, we'll call it available object, and these should all then be available objects. This should be the same. And then this one should also be the same, and then we would just return it. Okay, so if there is an object in the pool, reuse it. So we basically do the available objects equals, and then we dequeue, which I think means we take the first available one and we take it out of the queue because we're going to use that one. And then we return it. So else there is no object in the pool, create a new one. So this would be the same, we'll call it new object. New object, new object. But don't return it like that because you haven't dequeued it. So actually, yeah, just create one and don't put it in the queue. Maybe queue isn't the right thing to use for this, because how will we, when we despawn something, I don't know if you can get the prefab version of that thing. Like, let me just try here. Despawn to pool. Public void, because you're gonna need to know. I'll type it as a comment and see if this has a suggestion. How would we get the prefab from the object itself? We could use a component that stores a reference to the prefab. Then we can add the object back to the pool. That's weird though, isn't it? Then we would have an object. Or could we could, this is ridiculous, I think. When we create the object, we could add something to it to remember what the prefab was. and then when we despawn it, we just get that object that we added. That, I think, makes sense. So we'll go to our scripts again. We're going to need a new script. Create a new script. We'll call it poolable object. So on our poolable object, all we need so far is a should we call it public? Yeah, I suppose public game object prefab reference. That's all we need. Cool. So if we go to our pool manager, when we create this object, which we do here, we also want to add new object dot add component poolable object, and then the prefab reference, we want to set it as the prefab itself. Nice. Cool. And if it was already in the pool, then we know already that it has this object that we just made. Else, it's not in the pool, so we're going to make one. We don't need to enqueue it. But we can queue game objects. I suppose add it to the pool here anyway. And then we're going to do game object, new object, instantiate it, and then add that as well. And then actually, because we're doing the same thing here that we're doing here as well, let's just turn that into a method. We'll call this private void create new object. And this will need a game object, which will be the prefab. It'll need a vector3 for the position and quaternion rotation as well. So when we do this, we can just do create new object, prefab, position, rotation. Cool. And then here we can do the same thing. Create new objects, prefab, position, rotation. So now when it comes to despawning something, all we need is the actual game object itself. Game object to despawn. So we need poolable object, poolable equals game object to despawn, get component, poolable object. And if it's not null, okay, let's have a look. This is the code that Copilot suggests. If it is null, let's look at this first. The object to despawn does not have a poolable object component. That is a warning that we should log, and then just destroy it, which is fine. This situation shouldn't happen. Okay, so poolable object. Oh, it's Ames from the Fall Guys Discord. from right at the start. That's awesome. That's a long time ago. How are you doing? Are you still active in the Fall Guys community? And then we've got another Oliver in the chat. There's too many of us. I feel like Oliver as a name is more popular now. I hear kids being called Oliver in the shop a lot more. And just out and about, you'll hear people shouting at their children that are called Oliver. And I feel like growing up, I didn't hear the name quite as much. But yeah, I think it is a more popular name now. And John's here. Hello. Going pretty good. We're making an object pool, a pool manager. And we're trying to make it generic so it works for any type of object. I think there's assets on the asset store that do this, but for whatever reason, I decided it would be a good idea to make one from scratch. Cool. So where do we get up to? Up to here. Despawn the object. If it does have the poolable component that we just made, and that is not null, then the prefab equals the prefab reference. So we set the object to not active. And if the pool already contains a key using the prefab, then we just enqueue the object that we just despawned. Otherwise, we add the prefab to the dictionary, and then we enqueue the game object to despawn. That all makes sense, I think. Cool. So let's scroll back up here and check this is complete. So first we check if the prefab is already in the pool. If it is already in the pool, we check, is there any available? If there is, we dequeue it, and then we set its transform position, rotation, and then we set it active, and we return the available object because we're now using it. If it's not already in the pool, then we create a new object. And when we create a new object, we make the new object, and then we add a component to it which has a reference to the prefab, so that when we despawn it, we can get it back later. And then if the dictionary doesn't have that key in it, we will add the key to the dictionary, create a new queue for that, but then we just create a new object and we add this to it as well. I think that all sounds pretty good. So the pool manager really wants to be a singleton. So we should do public static instance. There we go. And then on awake, we should do this. I don't want to not destroy it. That would be too much. And we'll do a warning here. Log. Is it debug.log? Yeah. Log warning. There are multiple pool managers in the scene. Destroying new one. But this should never happen. That should be a situation we want to avoid. Hi, I built a PC today and I connected the CPU HDMI to the monitor HDMI, but it won't show up on the screen. Do you also have a graphics card as well as the CPU built-in graphics card? Because if so, it might be using that one by default, so you might want to just plug straight into that. That is all I can think of. I know a tiny bit about hardware, but not enough that I can be super helpful with that. Okay, so this would probably make it equal null to begin with. On awake, if this equals null, then make it equal this. Otherwise, yeah, there's an issue going on. And then pool dictionary is just private, I think, is fine. Because we don't actually need to get a reference to that. We just spawn from the pool, which we can get publicly. And we can despawn publicly. I think this will work. I'm going to make this a serialized field so we can see it in the inspector. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. Can we do like show in inspector? Is that a thing? Show in inspector. No. Is that not a thing you can do? Don't serialize, but show in inspector. For debugging, yeah. And then how do I do that? Oh. But that's sort of the opposite of what I want to do. I don't want to hide it in the inspector. Although when you're in debug mode, maybe it would show in inspector anyway. Let's just try private and see how that works. So now we have that. Let's go to our bullet manager. Set up bullet. What spawns in a bullet? It'll be our gun script, which is our shooter. So if we go here, instead of instantiate and create a bullet there, we're now going to go to our pool and grab a bullet from that. So we can do game object bullet equals, then we'll do pool manager dot instance dot spawn from pool, and then we just give it our projectile prefab, basically we just give it all this, so the spawn origin plus the transform position and then the direction. Basically all that. And then we can just get rid of this. So now when we create a bullet, we're not creating one, we're getting one from the pool if one exists, which is good. And then when we destroy the bullet, which I think we do in here in the bullet manager, we don't want to destroy it anymore. And there we don't want to destroy it. We'll do private void despawn bullet. And then when we despawn it, we'll do pool manager dot instance dot despawn to pool game object. And then instead of destroying it, we'll call despawn bullet. And then when we destroyed it up here as well, we will despawn it. Nice. What kind of game are you working on? We're making a twin stick shooter roguelike. So I guess something kind of like Binding of Isaac. But it's set in an office is the idea so far. We kind of restarted it and we took out all the artwork. We're just working on the code and the gameplay. And when that's fun, then we'll start adding artwork back in. You make it look so easy. Thank you. I'm actually finding it really difficult. I don't know if that's coming across, but I've never written a pool manager, a pooling system on my own before. It's easier than I thought it was going to be, but I am finding this a bit difficult. So that, I think, should work, and I think we should now have a system for destroying bullets and creating bullets using the pool manager. Is this the only way we create bullets, though, is the other question. Like the shooting script, probably. I imagine so. I guess the other place we want to use our system is when we create enemies. So if we find our enemy, it could be the enemy manager that handles that. Yeah. Okay, so our enemy manager. What we're going to do now is... see, this is where it might get a bit tricky. Okay, let's have a look at this. So we spawn enemies over time. And this spawn enemy calls this spawn enemy function here. Spawn enemy here. And this gets an enemy from there. But what we'll do instead is we'll do game object enemy. Basically what the Copilot has just suggested. We'll do game object enemy equals pool manager instance spawn from pool enemy prefab, the random position that we've generated, and the quaternion starting position. Cool. So if I delete that now, that's fine. So that's us spawning an enemy in. Good. Here we've got destroy all enemies. When we destroy them, we shouldn't just actually destroy the enemy. We should put them back in the pool. So let's have here private void despawn enemy. And this, oops. This will do pool manager dot instance despawn to pool game object. And so instead of destroying the enemy, we'll just do despawn enemy here. Cool. But this is wrong. This needs a game object. Game object enemy to despawn. Because this enemy manager itself isn't on the game object of the enemy. It's like an overall enemy manager. So enemy to despawn is what we want to despawn. And then here we'll put enemy in. Cool. Adam Atta? 64. Still 24. I am. Did you do the... There was some like Fall Guys 3D animations. I feel like I remember your name on those. You did a lot of those. Yeah, they were really good. I remember. I have a really bad memory, but I remember those. Yeah, did you end up getting like a job in animation? Did you work in animation already? Because they were really good quality. Especially if you're just like, you were just doing them on your own. That's cool. Alright, so we despawn the enemy and then we put them back in the pool. Are we destroying the enemy in any other way? Because we should also not do it like that. Spawn enemies over time. That's where we do the other thing. So here's the other part of this. This constantly checks if the enemies have been defeated, and it will remove enemy where enemy equals null. But that's not what we want to do. We want to remove the enemy. Remove enemy if enemy is despawned, not active in hierarchy. And then how will we do this? Yeah. Enemies remove enemy where enemy equals null or enemy is not active in hierarchy. I think that makes sense. I haven't got anywhere in the industry with it. Doing editing for K-pop podcasts. Awesome. UGO YouTubers, and got a mental health podcast project to edit coming up soon. Nice. That's a lot of video projects. That's cool. Joe says, how did you not know that I was still active? I've done like lots of different projects. I keep moving from different things, so it'll be quite easy not to know what I'm up to. I guess I keep sort of starting again with things. Yeah, that was a really long time ago actually, wasn't it? It was like 12 years ago, the drawing channel. Yeah, the creative space has been quite difficult. There's been like a lot of layoffs in the games industry in particular. Chip G Music, a long time ago. I have started making some new music. I need a band name to put it under. Because it's similar to stuff I've done before, but I feel like it's been so long that it just makes sense to kind of start a new project for it. Okay, so this works, I think. We remove the enemies from the enemy list if they're null, they've been destroyed, or if they're not active. And they're not active because they've been despawned. And when we spawn them, they will be active because we'll do this spawn from pool. Which, if we just go look at that again, we make them active. And we make them active here as well, I think. Yeah, I mean, let's just do new object dot set active is true. I think by default it should be set active, but we'll see. Okay, I think all of this code that I've done, I haven't tested any of it, should hopefully work. But if not, it'll be good to know now. Okay, so let's save, press play. Okay, so what would be the first thing that will break? The first thing that would break is when it spawns an enemy in. So it spawned an enemy in. That enemy should be... Oh, okay, something's gone horribly wrong. Let's pause it. There are 4 enemies in a scene. But here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 enemies. So either... Yeah. The enemies is spawning 2 in the same position. They're stacking on top of each other. So let's go back to our script and have a look. Why would the enemies be spawning on top of each other? When we create a new object, let's see. Here we... Oh, look. It's this. We don't want to do that. We do actually return it though. So let's put here game object. What should we call it? We'll call it return object equals null, and then we'll do return object, but here when we do create new object we want to return a game object, and we will return the new object here. So here when we do it we'll do return object equals that, and here we will do return object equals that, and then that should be every situation. Oh, we don't need that. We can just go, yeah, we can do what you just suggested there. JEPD movies. We can just do return create new object there, or return available object, or return create new object, and that should be every situation where you are creating it there. Cool. Okay, so let's go back now and unpause this. We'll start again. Jep. I never know how to read people's names out. I'm really bad at it. I don't know whether I'm supposed to like... It's because every letter was capitalized, so I was like, is that each individual letter? Or... yeah, you know. It's okay though, because people get revenge on me. When people are reading my name out, especially on Twitch, they just call me Oliver Age. And I think it's because when you read people's Twitch names, you usually just ignore the number off the end. So they think the 24 is not part of the Oliver Age 24, and I'm just Oliver Age, which is quite funny. Alright, so we hit start. We've got one enemy and one enemy there. Two enemies there. Three enemies. Four. Okay, let's now pause it. If we go to our game manager and we look at our pool manager, which is behind me, and I set this to debug. Oh no, you can't actually see the pool of objects. But if I click on one of these enemies and I scroll down, it does have a poolable object component, and it does have a reference to the enemy, so that bit's working. Let's try to destroy one of the enemies and see what happens, because that enemy should get destroyed. Pause. And it should be deactivated. Let's see what's happened here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies there. I can see. Why can I only see 5 of them here though? Oh no, there's 6. I can't count. Is there 6? Yeah. Can't count. There's 6. There's just 2 there. There you go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. Okay. So that potentially means I destroyed one of the enemies, it deactivated, and then it reused that same enemy again and spawned it back into the scene. So the only way really to test it is to kill some enemies while it's spawning the other ones, and do it faster than it spawns them. Okay, so now if I pause it now, there should be a bunch of deactivated enemies. I'm not seeing that though. The bullets, I can see that the bullets are deactivated. If I unpause it, all the bullets should deactivate after a certain amount of time has gone past. That seems to happen. If I fire that, how long does the bullet survive? Where's that player? The bullets survive 5 seconds. Okay, so if I fire bullets, it should... Yeah, you can see it's reusing the bullets that are already here and then deactivating them after 5 seconds. If I start firing again, it shouldn't make any new bullets. It should reuse these bullets that already exist. So I can see now it is activating them again, and then when that's full, it'll just make new ones. So our object pool is working. Dab. I don't think people dab anymore, but we can bring it back. Alright. And our enemy, presumably, is working as well. The only thing with the enemy, though, they seem to be getting fully destroyed. They don't just seem to be getting deactivated. So why is our enemy getting fully destroyed? Maybe it's to do with the health manager on the enemies. That is what it's to do with, I think. If I go to my enemy... No, a health manager. and we go to here, die, we destroy them. We don't want to destroy them. We want to despawn them. So here I'll do a serialized field, private, and this will be a bool, and it will be despawn to pool on death equals true. Save. And then here we can do if despawn to pool on death, can't type, is true, then despawn them. Return. Otherwise, destroy. I think that makes sense. You don't know about coding, but you're finding it interesting. That's cool. I never thought I would get into coding, but as I've got older, I've just enjoyed it more and more. I've been coding for quite a long time, actually. Like since 2013, I started like learning how to make games. I used like visual scripting for a while, for a few years, and then started learning C# afterwards. It's easier than I imagined it would be, but it's taken a long time to learn as well. Oh wow, so Adam had a coding class for one semester in college, struggled with it, but then sat down, locked in, and was able to get the highest grade. That is impressive. I feel like coding isn't one of those things that like some people naturally are really good at and others aren't. It's one of those things that you do literally just have to put the work in and learn how to do. And I do feel like it's something anyone can do. But you do have to have the patience and time to learn how to do it. So else, and then we could do destroy. So if they're supposed to... Oh, no. What we could do, even smarter way of doing it here, get rid of that. We can just do poolable object, poolable, equals try get component, poolable object. What have I done here? Equals null, and then we can do try get component, poolable object, poolable. Oh, you got to put the word out. There we go. And then if it does have one of those objects, if poolable doesn't equal null, then we know we've got to despawn it. Otherwise, destroy it. And maybe just log debug.log object doesn't have poolable object component, destroying it. And then maybe we also want to add in the name of the object, so we just have that. Objects, and then we can just do game objects dot name doesn't have poolable object component, destroying it. Save. Okay. Play. So now it's going to start making enemies. If we destroy these, we should see them deactivate. I did see one deactivate and then it reactivated again. So that seems to be working. Oh wait, what just happened then? So the health isn't reset on these objects. When they spawn back in, their health isn't refilled. Okay. Let's have a look. So enemies, prefab, enemy, health manager, edit. So I think that's because on awake we set the health to full, but it's not actually on awake, it's on enable. We want to do that. So each time the object re-enables is when we restore it to full health. So on enable, save. Or we can get really clever and we can do here a public void on pool spawn. Ooh, look at that. That's fancy. And then we go to our pool manager and we can go spawn from pool. Oh no. So we can do that, but it does get more confusing. We can basically we'd have to make an interface to do it. Do we want to do that? Yes, I think we do. So let's close that. We'll make a new script. Create new script. We'll call this I don't want to call it poolable objects. We just had one of those. We'll call it iPoolable. Object. I am going to call it iPoolable object, but I'm going to rename what we already had as a poolable object to call this poolable prefab reference. Save that. Because this just has a reference to the prefab, so we can get the prefab from whatever object. The interface we just made, iPoolable object, we want to change this to an interface. Get rid of mono behavior. And then all we're going to want in here so far is public void on pool spawn. On pool spawned. And I suppose we want a despawned one. Nah, we don't want that yet. We'll add it in if we do want that later. Then if we go back to our enemy, or our health manager, we can inherit from that interface iPoolable object. I think you got to inherit from mono behavior first, so we do it the other way around. So we inherit from mono behavior and then iPoolable object. And then on pool spawned here. So this will now get called, well, we've got to do it. We've got to make it happen that it gets called each time you enable this object. Save. So, the only thing is we've used this health manager on our player, and our player isn't part of the object pool. So we will have to do an onAwake and then check poolable objects, not the iPoolable one, the reference poolable equals null. Then we'll do try get component and get the reference. If poolable equals null, then we manually need to call onPoolSpawned. Or we just do another function here called public void reset to full health or full heal. Full heal. And then, yeah, do those. And then on pool spawned, we'll just do a full heal. And if it's not poolable, we'll do a full heal as well. Cool. And then we can go over to our pool manager, and we spawn it in. We can do it gets confusing now though, doesn't it? Because spawn from pool. We need to heal them every time we spawn them back in. So before we return this object, we then want to heal them. So we do want to do a game object spawned object equals null, and then here we'll do spawned object equals create new object. Here we'll do spawned object equals create new object, and here we'll do the available one, spawned object equals available object. And then when we've done all that, we want to do return spawned object, but before we return it, we want to do spawned object we basically want to do iPoolable object, like a list, an array, iPoolable objects equals spawned object dot get components in children. Does get components in children also get the objects on the object itself? On the spawned object? No. Whoop. iPoolable object. And then we want to call for each poolable object in iPoolable objects, call poolable.onPoolSpawned. Dab. That should work, and that should now mean that enemies get full health when you spawn them in. In theory. I mean, if it works, we should just see the enemies get full health again once you destroy them. And once they spawn in. So start game. Okay, so that enemy spawned with full health. That one did too. If I destroy this one, and then go destroy another one, that just spawned in with full health. Seems to be working. Just destroy that one. Alright, so now if I go over here, we can see there are no deactivated enemies. Let's just kill this one. Kill all these ones as well, I suppose. Oop. Warner, hello. What you working on nowadays? This is going to be like a twin stick roguelike shooter. We've been working on it on streams. So this is the third stream. Each stream is like once a week and I do it for like 3 hours. So we've done this game for like 7.5 hours so far. Restart game. Okay, so these enemies that are already spawned in, if the object pooling is working, should activate, and that does look like it's happening. And we've got all our bullets from before as well. Nice. Are bullets getting destroyed properly when I shoot the wall as well? Yeah, it looks like it. They're getting deactivated. Nice. So we've made custom object pooling. Took an hour and a half, so half of the stream has gone to this. That's cool though. I've never done that before, so I wasn't sure how difficult that would be to figure out. But we seem to have got it. So now when I shoot, I'm not creating brand new bullets. I'm using bullets that already exist from before, and I'm deactivating them instead of destroying them. And the same for the enemies. When I shoot and kill the enemies, it just deactivates the enemy, and then it spawns it back in again when you create new enemies. And also, I don't know if it was obvious a second ago, but when I die or I complete it, let's just die. It says you have lost restart game. When I click restart game, it doesn't actually reload the scene. It continues. So I've still got all the objects I've already spawned in. I think I just collided with something walking up here, did I? Was there something there? No? Cool. So something weird's happening there where I don't know how to explain what just happened. That's weird. Okay, so I think I destroyed him, and then I stood where he was standing. I still collided with him. Maybe I didn't know, and it just looked like I did. I'll have to go back and watch the footage to see. No, I think it was just an optical illusion. Because he's getting deactivated straight away. So, and I would be colliding a lot more if that was a real issue. Alright, cool. You have one. Restart. Nice. Cool. That all seems to be working. I'm not getting any errors. And yeah. Nice. Okay, so let's have a look on the TikTok comments and see if anyone has suggested anything else to add to the game. in the last week or so, because I've been posting videos on TikTok from the previous streams. Okay, someone said add decals to the wall. I like that idea. Okay, so I actually don't know how to do decals in Unity, so I will have to look that up. I could spawn in like a sprite when you hit the wall, but that is not using a decal system. So I'm just going to Google real quick. Decals? I might be saying it wrong in Unity. Okay, so a decal So apparently this is how you use a decal in Unity. You add the decal renderer feature, you create a material and you use a decal shader, then you create a decal projector, or you just create a quad, put the decal material on it, and then spawn it in close enough to the surface that you want the decal to be on. And you adjust the mesh bias value to prevent Z-fighting. Okay. Okay, I want to know how to do this because I've never done them before, but I feel like it crosses the line of things that are art and things that are like gameplay. But because it's not something I've done before, it feels like let's just figure out how to do it. It could be interesting. So I think if I go to project settings, there should be like renderer options in nice shader graph in graphics maybe. Yeah, so this is our renderer pipeline asset. So if we go to our asset here, we should be able to add a feature for decal. Maybe not on this, maybe there's usually two. There's usually, let's just go back to project. So universal renderer data, you can add features, but I can't add features. Why can't I add features? The button is grayed out. Okay, let's see this. This means nothing. Oh, yeah, you can't edit those because they're the ones that are built in. Okay. On here then. Renderer. No. Did I put it in art? Do I have to manually create one? Is there not one? When you don't have an assigned in the active quality setting. Okay. right, asset setting, and then here it is. So I should be able to edit this and add extra features in. So it's just called PC Renderer. We'll just delete this mobile version of the game here because I'm making it for PC. Save, save. So there should be a renderer feature for decal. There it is. So I just add decal as an option there. You can use, when enabled, you can configure specific decal projectors to affect only specific objects. The number of rendering layers affects the performance. Ah, okay. Maybe we want to do that. Technique, automatic, debuffer, or screen space. Alright, okay, so that kind of makes sense. That's fine. Let's make a material now for our bullet marks that we're going to add to the wall. I think if we go to here and we create a sprite, like a circle, and we call this bullet mark, bullet hole. Okay, bullet hole. And then we need to make a material. Do we have any materials already in the project? Arts, materials. Okay, so we'll call this like bullet hole decal. So now if we change this to like decal, what happens? We need to add a base map, a normal map. Okay, so if we add in our bullet hole we just made, it is going to be a white circle. We can change that to be a black circle next. Then if we add in now, file, save, a new quad, and we add our new material to this quad. That is a white circle, but it's just, you can just see it on everything. So we put it there like at naught. And then naught again, I suppose. And we move it back to that wall. It's not getting cut off. Like, what? Let me go look again what it said. Is the texture projected onto the existing surfaces? Okay, but it's not. They're flat 2D objects that stick to other things. Okay, so create a decal material. We did that. Maybe we've got to use those projectors. Because at the moment that's not projecting, that is literally just a quad in the scene. Like, even though I'm using this decal material, it's just literally placing it in there. I mean, it does do a weird thing when you hover over that bit, but like, I don't know what's going on there. It's not because I'm in isometric, is it? No. That shouldn't be showing up there though. That's really odd. I think. I find that odd. Oh look, it cuts off there though. That's weird. So it does work in that way, but I only want to project it in one direction rather than projecting it. So maybe not depth bias, maybe view bias. Oh, what did that do? What is that doing? That's really weird. So maybe go back to depth bias and change the depth. No, that doesn't make any sense. 0. Where did we add it? We added it to our renderer, which is in settings. Max draw distance. Screen space. No, that just didn't work. Debuffer. Doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe we've got to use the projectors? Let's try with the projectors. So, how do we make a projector? Effects? No. Oh, URP decal projector. Okay, so let's have a look. We want it to be here. Okay. That is projecting it onto there. The material, we want to use our new material we made, our bullet hole decal. Okay. That is projecting it downwards. That does seem to be working. But how do we choose like the direction? We can choose the depth. We probably only want to project it in like 0.1. And then if we do R1, okay. I guess that would be 5. Alright, so do we have to set the rotation on here somewhere? Okay. So that seems to work. It does kind of project it onto the ground as well, which is a bit weird. It would never actually hit the ground though. When you're shooting the bullets, they would only hit the walls. So maybe that's fine. Rendering layers, we could only put it on like the wall layer or something. What else could we do to sort of stop that from being so weird? The projection depth I could make really small. It's like 0.01. No. See, that's already... Oh, it's because it's not like at the wall. You'd have to have it exactly on the wall for it to work there. Okay, I think we can make this work. Let's think. We're gonna want it to be smaller than this. If we put like 0.1. Okay, 0.1. There we go. We do have a bullet hole there. Very tiny white dot. Let's make it 0.25 then. Okay, we can see that. 0.25. Right. Okay. I think we can figure this out. It'll just be a case of spawning these in like the correct place and then fading them out over time or something. Opacity 1. Oh look, you can change the opacity. Okay. This could work out quite nicely. Alright, so it's just going to be a case of spawning them in the correct place. So we only want to do this on walls, if you hit the wall, I think. So with bullets, let's have a look. How do we handle that situation? Okay, so we know if we hit something that has a health manager, we know it's not a wall. If we hit something without a health manager, else, then we know here we've hit a wall or something without health. So spawn in bullet hole projector. Hello, what game are we making? We're making a twin stick shooter roguelike, and somebody on TikTok suggested we do decals of bullet holes when you shoot the walls. So that's what we're trying to do now. I haven't done decals before, so it's a bit confusing, but I think we've almost figured it out. I'll call this bullet hole decal projector. Oops. Yeah. Okay. So let's turn this into a prefab as well. Okay, and then let's go to it. We need to go to our health manager. No, our bullet manager. We're going to add in a serialized field, private game object, bullet hole prefab. Okay, and then when we destroy it here, we're going to spawn in, and we'll use our pool manager instance dot spawn from pool our bullet hole prefab, and then we want to do collision dot contacts 0 points plus collision dot contacts normal times 0.01f. Do we want to do that, or do we just want to spawn it in right at that point? We'll just spawn it in right at that point, I think. The rotation is going to be tricky. What's that here? Dot identity. Because the rotation of where we spawn it in is going to be to face the wall. How do we figure that out? I know that this is correct for a wall that is facing the minus Z axis. Do I need to learn maths and physics to be able to build a game? No, I think you can probably build some games without, but then you get complicated problems like this one where you need something to figure this out. Let me explain it to you and see if this makes sense. Basically, I'm spawning these bullet holes in when you shoot and fire and hit the wall, but I need to rotate the bullet hole, and I need to figure out what angle to put the bullet hole to make it look correct. So when you hit this wall, this is correct, and this is rotated at 0, 0, 0. But let's say you hit a wall that is facing, like, instead of facing like that way, let me get a look, it's like that way. Then how would you know? Because like if I rotate this, can you see that that bullet hole is now like rotating? I need to put this on the wall with the correct rotation. So I'm sure there's like physics and maths you can do to figure out what angle that should be. But here's the cool thing you can do nowadays is if I explain what I just said to you here in notes, it's got like AI and it can suggest code that does what you sort of want it to do. So let's try and do that. Basically, make, and it's already suggesting, but make the bullet hole face the surface of the wall, bearing in mind that when the bullet hole is created, it has 0, 0, 0 for rotation, and it works on walls that are facing towards the -z axis. And then, yeah, it says, so we need to rotate it to face the normal of the surface we've hit. We want a reference to it, so we'll do game object, bullet hole equals, and then we create one. Then we can do bullet hole dot transform dot rotation equals quaternion look rotation minus the collision contacts normal. So that I think makes sense. I think that makes sense. That's so confusing, but okay, let's just assume we've done that correctly. And then if we go here, we go to our bullet. Now our bullet needs a reference to our bullet hole. So if I put the bullet hole onto the bullet, there we go. If I jump back in here, in theory, if I make another wall and I rotate it like 90 degrees in the y-axis, yeah. Now we've got some more walls we can try and shoot at and see if they are correct. So let's just put it over here. That'll do. 8. Play. This might not work, and it might work. I don't know. Let's pause it, make it full screen. Okay, so start game. If I shoot this wall, it is not making any bullet holes that I can see. And that one isn't either. And that one doesn't seem to be either. Okay, so let's have a look now. If I pause it, was it making bullet holes but we just can't see them? It was. So it is making bullet holes, but they're not touching the walls. Like, why are they not touching the walls? If I grab them all and move them to the wall, unplay that. Is there a point where you actually see them? No. So what's going on there then? Oh, yeah. Okay. So they are working and they seem to be the correct direction. That means these ones maybe are working as well. So I'll move these to the wall. You can see the bullets are spawning on the wall. They're spawning like a meter away from the wall. So what have we done here that would do that? We are... Oh, okay, we don't want to actually add the normal on. We just want to do it at the point of collision. That should actually be all we need to do. And if I press play again, we should now be able to shoot, and look, it is doing bullet holes sometimes. Not every time. That's weird. See, you can see that that's worked there on that side. But it doesn't seem to always work. Like, it's not working here. Or here. Oh, could it be a distance thing? Like, why could that be? Meme time. Hello. Why are these not working? What's going on here? So, let's grab some of these projectors. Is it the projection depth? Are we not like projecting them far enough? Could be. Decal projects. Okay, let's make all of these project further. That's weird. So some of them work and some of them don't. They all seem to be correct. I think it's because some of them are spawning slightly inside of the wall. And if I pull those ones out, yeah. Okay, so we need to plus collision dot normal something or other plus collision dot contacts 0 dot normal times naught point 0.01, and hopefully that'll be enough to push the bullets onto this side of the wall. Let's press play again and see. Start game. So I'm shooting. That's not working. I guess it needs to be minus. See, those ones work. Do they always work? But these ones don't work. So minus 0.1, or if we make it minus 0.02 and then we make them render double that, so 0.02, we make that 0.04, save, then that should hopefully cover us. Play. No. That seems weird. Pause. Where are they spawning in now then? They're spawning in... why does this all look weird? I don't know. But these are spawning in at -1. Is that correct? Okay, that's fine. 5. See, I'm not seeing that render at all now. -4.5. 4.89. The 4.55 one, was that the one I started with? No. Hmm. Overrides. Oh, apply all. Okay, play. Start game. Not working. Why though? They're just in the wrong place. So 4.838. That seems wrong. 5.1. 4.8. 4.85. Where is that one? Oh, that's there. So that one needs to be at 7.845. It's spawning in at 7.895. So maybe it's positive 0.2. Play. Start game. Okay. That seems to be working. Let's make some more walls, I guess. Or in fact, let's just, if I run around the other side of these walls and shoot them. And shoot that side. If I make some walls that are like different angles. Or if I make like a cylinder shape. Cylinder. That's like 8 by 8 by 8. Cool. If I shoot this cylinder, we should be able to get a good idea of how well it's working. Play. Pause, play. Start game. Cool, so that wall is working. I can create bullet holes on it. This one's working. This one, not so much. Let's pause that again and have a look. So it's creating bullet holes, but are they too far away from the surface or what? Yeah, they're inside and they need to be on the outside. So they need to be like 4.876, but they're actually 4.95. We could we could make them thicker so that they actually just project like 0.2, so they actually go in quite far, and then like that wall is 0.25, so they'd almost go entirely through that wall, which is fine anyway, like a bullet if it goes through the wall. We just need to make sure we're on this side of the correct side of the wall. So if I now do 0.1, is that on the correct? Is that on the inside of the wall or the outside of the wall? Let's pause it. Full screen. Start game. That's not working. That's not working. This is working to an extent. They seem to be sort of the wrong shape. So let's pause it and have a look. So these ones, they're spawning in the kind of correct place. Are they just not going in enough? Oh, this is still at 0.04. And I think I tried to change it to 0.2. Yeah, so let me just apply all overrides. Play. Meme times, yeah. Hello. Play. And pause. We'll go full screen. Shoop. Play again. Start again. Okay, so now we can create bullets there. Create bullet holes here. And then we can also create bullet holes on this. They are a weird shape though. Sometimes. Why would they be a weird shape? Let's have a look. So let's find one that is a weird shape. These ones. Okay, this one I guess is a weird shape. Oh, look, it's like it's too in the wall. It needs to be like pushed out of the wall a bit there. So these need to move a bit away from the wall. What about these ones? These don't really need to be pushed away from the wall anymore. So these ones though, these ones do need to be pushed out of the wall more. Yeah, they're quite in the wall. That's a tricky problem to solve though, isn't it? Why would it sometimes be in the wall, sometimes not be in the wall? Let's do it in here. Yeah, I mean... Sometimes when I spawn the bullet hole in, if it's on a curved surface, it's embedded within the wall. But if I spawn it on a flat surface, it looks correct. Why? Maybe it's because the normal is different on a curved surface, is it? How can I fix this? Ooh. Maybe I do a raycast from the bullet hole position in the direction of the normal to see if it hits the wall. That might actually be what I want to do. Adam's heading. No worries. Thanks for hopping on the stream. A little more. That's what I tried doing. 0.2 instead of 0.1. Sure. I could just do that. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's what I could do. 0.2. But then I have to change the projection depth to be like 0.4, which feels quite big. Play. Pause, full screen. So if I start game now, if I shoot this wall, it's working, you can see all the bullet holes. Shoot this wall, you can see all the bullet holes. If I shoot on this edge of this wall, you can see the bullet hole there. That does look a bit odd though, because of the depth that we've now had to add. You can see the bullet hole goes partially in there. Does that look... Does that look really weird? I feel like it looks a bit weird. And then if I shoot this, that seems to be working now. It's if you manage to hit it like right on the edge of the wall, like on the corner of the wall. But these work now. They're getting like the right shape on them. Okay, so let's try and fix this. So what we're going to do, we're going to change our bullet hole artwork now. So instead of being a white circle, we've got a black circle. Can we edit that in Unity? No. But we can edit this material to have a color as well. So let's edit this. We're gonna want to add a color to this material. So let's multiply this color by multiply. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Cadala? I just popped in. Why did you want us to change the bullet holes? So we didn't have any bullet holes before. We've added those in during this stream. And we're trying to make it so that when a bullet hits a wall, Kayla, nice. When a bullet hits a wall, it spawns in these like bullet holes on the surface. And we're doing this like decal thing, so it projects an image of a bullet hole and then it fades over time. We've not got the fade in part in yet. So instead of, yeah, basically we take this. Yeah, we take this and we'll multiply it by a new color. Color out, or color in, color. And then we will add a new input onto this material. New color. We'll call it main color. I would usually have a U, but there we go. And then this can go into there. Multiply. So now we can change the color of our bullet hole, so we can make them black rather than white circles. If I save this shader, we jump over here, zoom out. Whoop. Yeah, that's changed to black already, because I guess the default color there is black. We can just choose a different color there if we want. Let's do black though. You'd expect, I guess, black for hole, bullet hole. Save. 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 Okay. So the other thing we wanted to do is, so when you shoot a bullet and it hits the wall, it starts fully transparent and then it fades over time. Let's just press play and see, do the bullet holes appear as black holes now rather than white holes? So save, pause. Nice. They do appear as black holes. That's cool. That seems to be working. Okay, and then next we want to make them fade over time. So let's add on here a new script. We'll call this bullet hole manager. No, we will call it decal fader. Decal fader. So this is a decal projector that we need to get a reference to. So if we go to our decal fader, we're just going to add in a serialized field, private URP decal projector, yeah. We'll call that decal projector. Yeah, then we need fade duration, so it suggested that and that was correct. And current time, private float, spawn time. There we go. And then we'll do a on spawn. I pullable object. and then we'll do public on, not object spawn, on pool spawned. Spawn time equals time. Current time is 0. The color is, get the base color. Excuse me. No, we don't want to do it that way. We want to do this opacity. So we'll do float opacity equals 1f, and then we'll set the opacity. Private set decal opacity. That's weird. It's suggesting like that. And then we'll do float opacity. Why does it not like that? Private void. Then we want to do decal projector dot material. It's not the material. Is it actual just opacity? How do you get to the opacity? Can you not just get to that opacity value there? What is this? Edit script. It is just a decal projector. Opacity. Wait, what? Where's it gone? Decal projector. Does it not have a opacity in it? In current document. There's nothing called opacity in here. So, fade factor is called. Public fade factor. Why does it have weird names? M fade factor. It is a fade factor, okay. So can I just do fade factor equals opacity? Okay. Weird. Right. So we'll just set it to full to begin with. And then we'll do, we could do it on update or we could do a coroutine. Let's do it as a coroutine. Public enumerator. Enumerator. We'll call it fade decal. And then we'll do while current time is less than the fade duration. Current time plus equals time delta time. Opacity equals lerp between 1 and 0. And the current time divided by the fade duration. Set the opacity. No. Cool. That should work. And then afterwards, we want to despawn it. And then we also probably just want to add in private float time before fade, or delay before fade. Before fade equals 2 as well. And we'll serialize that so we can edit that. Cool. So now, in theory, we can edit our bullet hole to fade in, fade out even. Oop, put the projector in. So like, let's think 1, 2, maybe we want it to take 3 seconds to fade out, and then how long do we want to wait before we fade the bullet out? Like 3 seconds as well. Let's try that. Apply it all. And then I'm going to delete this from the scene. There. Save. So we should be able to fire a bullet, make a bullet hole, and then after a certain amount of time, 3 seconds, it should start fading, and it should slowly fade out over 3 seconds as well. So let's pause, make it full screen. So shoot some bullets, just bullet holes, wait 3 seconds, and then they should fade out. That feels like it's been longer than 3 seconds. Would you say? I'll do some more bullet holes over here. Way longer than 3 seconds. Yeah. So what have we done wrong? Prefab. Bullet hole. Edit script. So current time. Well, for a start, oh yeah, okay, so we need to start the coroutine. Fade decal. And then we need to wait, so we need to do a, wait before we start it. And then we want to set the current time to 0. Cool. Nice. Let's try again. Play. Did I just destroy my webcam then? Whoop, I just went off screen. There we go, I'm back. Alright, start game. Pause, full screen. There we go. 1, 2, 3. They're fading. Nice. I'll dab on that. I do like one arm dabs. You gotta do both arm really. Alright. Let's shoot some more. Around here as well. Just so we can check it works on the curved surfaces. They are fading out. That does seem to work. Alright, I'm going to make it not full screen. And I'm just going to look in our scene view. They're still there. Some of them are still there, some of them not still there. That's weird. Now why is that one not faded out? Well, it has faded out. Oh, no, it got to 0.3 and then stopped. But never actually deactivated. So why would that happen? wait before we fade. Current time equals 0. If the current time 0 is less than the fade duration, which should always be the case, current time plus equals time delta time. The opacity is equal to lerp in between these. We set the opacity and then we wait a frame and do it again, and then we despawn it. We should also just set decal opacity to 0 here. But why did it not always despawn? Okay, start. I'll just fire 1. It creates it. It fades out. And then it deactivates it. Create a few. Fades them and deactivates them. That works on all of them. Create a bunch of them. Around here as well. Just create loads. Okay. Now if I look through, that is deactivating all of them. There's non-active. I swear though, just before when we were testing it, we had some that were still active, even though, unless I paused it before it deactivated them or something. Okay, they're deactivating. So it's non-active now. It seems to work. I'm sure though, like a couple of minutes ago when I did it, I had an issue where I don't even know how to explain it. Yeah, it just wasn't deactivating at every bullet hole. Some of them were staying active. Okay, we've done loads there. Oh, awesome, you can check the VOD as we go. Yeah, see if I paused it. Maybe I paused it and that's why it didn't get rid of them. I'm seeing now. Yeah, it takes a few seconds, but then they all do seem to deactivate. I'm not seeing any that kind of stay and don't deactivate. Shoot it again. Cool. Alright, so I've done a load of shooting there. Let's just check if they've all deactivated. They haven't all deactivated yet. But now they have. Seems to work pretty reliably. Let's just check again. Yeah, they just take a little time to deactivate. Nice. And then shoot these ones. Should be every enemy, but there's some off screen, it looks like. Zoo, 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 zoo. Yeah, one over there. Nope, it looks good. Oh. Okay. I'm just confused then. Zoop. Thanks for checking. Cool. Alright, so we have bullets that make bullet holes. And they deactivate. And we're good. Restart game. Make some bullet holes. Nice. They look quite good. Quite happy with those, I think. Nice. Somebody else said on TikTok to make the bullets circle shape rather than these cubes that we have. I feel like that's probably a good shout. So let's just quickly make those into circles instead of tiny cubes. Very easy fix, but feels worth doing. Sphere. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Cool. Nice. That'll look better from whatever angle then as well. And then we can deactivate the cube. We could do with a material on the bullets. What colour should we make our bullets? Bullet. Player bullet. What colour should player bullets be? Also, what colour should walls be? We've just got like a boring grey colour at the moment. I guess it's supposed to be an office, so like a grey brown colour is probably fine for the walls. Maybe like the lighter. Something like that. For player bullets, so yeah, light brown for the walls, and then player bullets. I feel like for enemy bullets, you probably want them to be like red or something, so you can see them really easily. For player bullets, you don't have to worry about them, so they could be, I don't know, they could just be white or yeah, white probably works. Cool. We can make them metallic. See what happens there. Alright, we try metallic bullets now. Let's see what that looks like. Metallic spheres. Start game. They look weird. Also, are they colliding with something there? Wait, what? Something's happening odd. I think some bullets are getting reused before we're ready to reuse them. Did you see that? It was like, it's not doing it now. It's hard to explain what was happening, but it was like it was reusing a bullet before the bullet should have been destroyed. Or the bullet was hitting something that we couldn't see. Start game. It's not doing it now. Yeah. Something odd was happening then. It's like it was still hitting where the enemy was, but that shouldn't be possible because I switched the enemy off. You see that? Like something was colliding there. I deactivate the enemies though, so yeah, it was almost like there was lag, but this shouldn't have been possible to have lag. Let's try again and just see. Start game. Full screen. So, like I'm firing, you can see the spacing between the bullets is all the same. Like you can see the gap between all the bullets is like a pretty even amount. I destroy this one. Now if you watch the gaps between the bullets, like it misses some. It was only like 1 or 2. I'll do it again here. So I destroy him, and then there are like some weird gaps. So destroy him. Weird gaps. It was 2 in both cases. Ah, okay. What if I shoot this one here, kill him, and then fire this way? It happens even though I'm shooting a different direction. So I think let's have a look at our bullet script. Assets, bullet manager. Something's not getting reset, maybe. Oh, yeah. So Fish King's got it. I think the lifetime of the bullet is not getting reset. Well, it is when we set up the bullet. Something's not getting reset though, is it? Do we always call setup bullet when we create a new bullet? And then fix update. Add the time from since the last update and despawn it. On collision enter. Despawn it. Where do we call this setup bullet? Because that might help. When we shoot. we get the bullet manager. That's weird then. That's the only time we create bullets is when we press shoot. And then we always call set a bullet. Is there a chance No. I was thinking, is there a chance we call this before we call setup bullet? But I think we call setup bullet like immediately when we spawn the bullet. We do. Should only be called when you spawn a bullet. Yeah, it looks like it. So if it's called when I spawn a bullet in, the current lifetime should equal 0, but we increase it every fixed update. Lifetime. We despawn the bullet. On collision enter, we despawn the bullet. We don't have anything in the health manager that also tries to despawn the bullet, do we? Like take damage? No. No. Let's do a log here. Debug.log bullet destroyed due to lifetime. And then here we'll do one debug.log bullet destroyed due to collision with, and then the name of the object it collides with. So now if we go back and we press play again, we can hopefully figure out which one is causing the issue. Oh, that's a good question. If we destroy an enemy, pause for a longer time than it takes to spawn a new bullet, then shoot again, does it still void the first one? Alright, so let's try that. So, well, let's just try and reproduce the bug first. So, I'll shoot and I'll hit this. That's weird. Oh no, it's not weird. It's logged all those issues there. Alright, let's try again then. So clear that, press play. Right, so start game. Let's just push this across so we can see better. Alright, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to destroy this. And hopefully we're going to see... Yeah, some of them got destroyed then. And it wasn't due to lifetime. And also, it wasn't due to this. Because this only got called 10 times, which is how much health the enemy has. This only got called 10 times. I guess I only shot 10 bullets. Well, 20 bullets altogether. So the bullet didn't get destroyed because it collided. We know that for a fact. Let's try again then. That's weird. Alexa, stop. Yeah. If we uncollapse them, the order might help. Alright, let's try again. This is really weird. So we'll do it with this one. I'm going to fire the bullets. We should see 10 messages that say bullet destroyed because it collided. Oh, this is good actually. If we have... No, we don't want another one next to it. We want to fire off into the distance. Alright. So 10 messages that say bullet destroyed, and then one just got destroyed. Why did it get destroyed? Pause. How do we uncollapse those? Okay. So 10 messages where it dies, and then this gets called. Bullet destroyed due to collision with enemy. That could be the bullet that kills it though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. It gets destroyed as like the last bullet. Then the next one that gets called is 5 seconds later. And that is the bullet getting destroyed because it's 5 seconds. So, one pause. The bullet that goes missing, I don't think that bullet is getting destroyed. I think it might be teleporting or something. Because something's not getting set. Let's do the test you suggested. So start game. I'm going to be really careful now. I'm going to only fire one bullet at a time. So one bullet, one bullet, one bullet, one bullet, one bullet, one bullet. Wait. Now I'm going to fire one bullet. It just flies off. It's fine. That one. Did you see that one? One got destroyed here. I didn't see what happened though. Why did it get destroyed? Alright. Play again. Let's try and pause it as soon as we notice it happen, and then we can see what's happened. So start game. Okay. 1, and it got destroyed. Twice though. It got destroyed twice. Clear. It got destroyed twice. Okay. Fire again. Yeah, it's called twice. Again. Same thing is happening. Okay. Alright. So we'll clear this. We know I'm going to fire a bullet and it is going to randomly get destroyed or disappear or something weird's going to happen. So alright. I'm going to press shoot. I'm pausing it. Okay, it's gone. That's fine. Shoot again. It's gone. Fine. Alright. And then got destroyed for a lifetime. Fire again. Fine. Again. It seems fine now. Maybe it doesn't happen. It doesn't have multiple colliders when changing view cube. Oh. Yes. It might do. Oh. Play a bullet. I know. Hang on. We have a box collider on the player bullet. And then we have a sphere collider on the sphere. Which, because it has a rigid body, would also be used. We need to get rid of this collider. You might have solved it there. Yeah. I think you're right. So it was colliding twice, but it was deactivating itself, and then when it reactivated itself, it got the second message that it collided already, and then it was deactivating. That seems crazy, but you could have solved it. All right, so we've got rid of the collider on the sphere. We just have the cube. We could change this cube to a sphere as well. Let's do that. Let's just change that to a sphere as well. Sphere collider. Make it the right size. There we go. Save. 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 Back. Okay, so play. It might just not happen now that we've got one collider. Okay, sphere colliders are a bit more efficient, so that's good. Start game. Okay, so we need an enemy that's like towards the bottom of the screen so we can see it properly. Okay, that. Alright, we fire a bunch of times. Yeah, look, it solved it. So it's just something weird that was happening when you have two colliders on the bullet, and so it just wasn't properly resetting itself then, I guess, or something odd was going on. Yeah, look, it's not doing it now. So that was the issue. Solved it. Nailed it. Alright, we've got 8 minutes left. I feel like we've done a few things this stream, but it feels like progress has been slower. Like, we've added the bullet holes in. We added object pooling in, which is quite a big one. And then we've changed the bullet to a sphere. That's all we've done. Is there anything quick we can add in? Just so it feels like we did more. Did more than we did this stream. Pause full screen. Somebody said reloading. So like you have a certain amount of bullets and then you've got to do a reload. We could add that in. I don't know whether like reload would be a button that you press after you've fired so many shots, or you have to stop shooting and it reloads itself and then you can shoot again. Like overheating or something. Or you have to pick up ammo. Excuse me. Overall theme. So the idea is it's going to be based in an office and all of your colleagues are actually robots. And so you have to fight your way through all the office floors and destroy all the robots. Depends on the type of gun. So it's going to be a roguelike, and I guess like your gun will upgrade and you'll have maybe different types of guns, potentially. Yeah, we don't necessarily know if we need reloading in yet. Oh, we can make the camera move. The camera not moving is really annoying. Let's just... We can have that... Oh, we can't just put it on the player object. We could add something to the player object that makes the camera track it. So player, is that right? We just want to track X and Z positions of the player. Okay, we'll just add a script to the camera called player camera follow. Player camera follow, and we'll do in update. Or we could do it in late update even. Late update. If the game manager instance player doesn't seem to be able to let us get that. Player instance. We could just add a public player equals player instance. If the player instance isn't null, then the transform position of the camera equals the player's transform position, although is that actually what we want? Let's throw a player in and see if that's a 0, 0, 0. It is. Okay, cool. So maybe we want to add an offset in as well, just so we can change that in future. Private vector free offset, and then we'll do transform position equals that plus offset. So this is just going to be like a really quick, easy version of a camera that follows. It's just going to snap straight to the position of the player, so it won't like smoothly animate or anything. It'll just be hard set on the player. It might be nicer to have it like smoothly move to where the player is. Okay, let's make that full screen. Start game. Nice. So now it tracks the player. If I destroy this... Oh, look at the shadow. That's so gross. What's going on there? Why would the shadow move with the camera? Look at that. What is that? What is that? Pause. What is going on there? It's gross. We have a directional light. Oh, the quality is set to low. Let's just set it to high. It's still very odd, that. Is it to do with this? No. What is that? Like, it's when the camera goes past that point, it makes everything darker. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Could it be... Yeah, okay. Our camera is in the ground, is it? Yeah. Our camera is in the ground. Nobody wants that. That's odd. Let's move it upwards. Also, it's at minus 5.3. Let's move the camera up by like 10 up in the air. And then like minus 5 by minus 5. And then we probably won't get any weird shadow issues there. Directional light. Play. Oh, it is going to stick back where the player is though, the camera. Yeah, okay, so we want to add an offset to that of like 5 and then like minus 5, minus 5. Now when we walk around, the shadow shouldn't go weird, but it does go weird. Let's make it go even higher then. 10, minus 10, minus 10. Okay, look, It's to do with the fact that our camera is orthographic, so it's thinking, oh, you've gone past the point where you need to know the shadow here, so let's just make it darker. But that's not what we want. It might be to do with these clipping planes. Near minus 1,000. Far 1,000. No, that's still doing it. Minus 50. 50. Oh, it's the other way around. Minus 50 and 50. The shadow is much better if you do it this way. But the lighting. The lighting still goes weird at the bottom. Maybe if I make it even higher, so like 25 high, minus 25, minus 25. Wait, that's changing. Whoa. Okay, that's fixed the lighting issue. So what have I done there? I've made it 25 high, minus 25, minus 25. Okay, so 25 high, minus 25, minus 25. But then the clipping, maybe we need it to be, maybe minus 100 is fine. Save. Render shadows, fine. Okay, and then near plane controls the value for the near clip plane when rendering shadows. Currently clamped to 0.1 units or 1% of the light range property, whichever is lower. 1.2. Let's just put it at 0.2 then. Let's make the shadow quality high. Okay. Let's edit this to custom. We want it to touch the bottom of the object, so 0. The normal, we want that to also be like 0. Okay, and then the airplane could be 0.2. Play. Start game. It's doing something weird now where the shadow seems to fade in oddly. But other than that, that's weird. Is that to do with this? Depth? No. The normal? No. Near plane? No. Is it to do with the camera? clipping. This, I suppose, minus 100 far. So we're saying minus 25, 25, minus 25. What is going on there with that shadow? As I get lower to the ground, it's fine. The shadows just like don't render if you're like 25 up in the air. Something to do with the how far the shadows actually render. Let me just Google it. Unity shadows rendering distance. It's in the quality settings. Preferences. Quality would be in graphics, no? Build. General project settings. Quality. Shadow distance. Distance shadow mask. Fade distance. I don't see anything about shadow render distance though. I've only got shadow mask or distance shadow mask for that. Graphics. Shadows. Oh, here we go. Loads of options here. That's for changing the colour of your shadows. No. Where would it be then? Player, other settings, shadows. No. No. Somewhere is an option for how long your shadows should be. Oh. Apparently it is on that asset. PC here, on here. Cast shadows. Shadow resolution. I can make the shadows look better. Max distance is 50. So we just probably want to make that 100. Nice. I think now you won't see any weird shadows fading off into the distance. Conrad, hello. How are you? Yeah, doing good. It's been a long time since I've streamed. I started a couple of weeks ago making this game. What do you work on? No, rat camp. So, sadly, rats only live 2 to 3 years. So we had 4 rats and they all lived, I think, about 3 years. Got 2 dogs now. I moved house. Oop, start game. So that looks like the shadows are not fading now. So we fixed that. Nice. Well, there's a weird texture on everything. Interesting. Must be to do with the shadows. Cool. So they're bullet holes that we can make. They work and they fade. Yeah, we've got tattoos for all the rats. Got a tattoo for one of the dogs. Need to get the other dog. I don't know if you can see that. That's for Oswald. Need to get another tattoo for Lula. Okay, I'm going to take that weird metallic shader off of the bullets because that looks odd. Metallic 0. Save. Save. Okay, so full screen, play. This is what we've got so far. So we have a main menu, click start game, it starts, gives you a player, and spawns in enemies over time. You can shoot in all directions, you can harm the enemies and kill them. You create bullet holes when you shoot objects like walls and also this spherical object here. The bullets, like the bullet holes, will fade over time. That's working. They'll fade over time and then disappear completely. Some of them are slightly odd shapes there. We can fix that though. It's just a bit odd. Anyway, we can kill them. We get hurt if we walk into enemies. We can win if we kill all the enemies. So I'll just try and do that real quick. Ooh. Nice, you've won. Restart game. And then the same thing sort of happens if you get killed. You have lost. Restart game. Nice. Yeah. We spent ages on this bullet thing and it was working, but now it looks like the ones on here are not spawning incorrectly. Or are on some sides of it, but not on all sides of it. Interesting. Oh, it could be to do with the shape of our collider now as a sphere. I think it's because we're using a sphere collider, so the point of collision will be a little bit different. Ooh. I'm just going to check when we spawn in the bullet holes on our bullet manager. Is it possible instead of doing the contact point, Oh, it says you should avoid using this as it produces memory garbage. Use get contact or get contacts instead. Okay, let's do it a bit different. So get the exact point of contact on the surface of the object that was hit. So if it's not, so if it's not a, so if it's, so if due to physics issues, inaccuracies, the bullet hole, the contact point is not exactly on the surface, still get the surface point. Alright. Oops. Points. And offset from the surface. Okay, now what does it want us to do? I'm trying to use Copilot to figure out how to do this, but it doesn't seem to be to suggest anything. Get contact. Vector 3 contact point equals collision dot contacts get contacts 0 dots over the point of contact, the impulse applied to this contact pair to resolve the collision, the first collider in contact at the point, separation, the distance between the colliders at the contact point. The point of contact. Oh, look at that. Whoa. This is what we need. Closest point. Whoa, this is crazy. We need... Whoa. Contact point equals... So we want to do collision dot other objects? How do we do? Collision dot... We want the other object. The game object whose collider you are colliding with. Get that. Dot get component collider closest point. The closest point on the collider given a specified location. Oh, what's this? The closest point to the bounding box of the attached collider. That's not what we want. Closest point of collision dot get contact 0 dot point cool. Okay, so that plus let's get the contact point Okay, so contact point equals, get that. Then here we can do contact point dot point, and this we'll call contact pos. It's the position that we contact on the collider that we've hit. And then here we can do contact pos plus, not that, this contact points dot normal times 0.2. Now this should hopefully find the nearest position on the collider of the object we've hit, rather than just the point of collision. It will always be the point on the collider that we've collided with, in theory. Okay, so that's working. That's working. And this, not always working. Why? Pause. I thought that was a big brain moment where it was all going to work. So let's have a look at how it's got it, but it hasn't pushed it out from the normal. Like it needs to be like out here. Not like that, but the offset might need to be higher. The only thing is, it works really well for these ones, and if it's any further for these ones, it wouldn't collide properly with them, I don't think. If I zoom in. Yeah, like they're basically, they're halfway. Like it gets the point correctly on those. Or does it? The normal thing could be the issue. If we get rid of content identity, look, that should then be contact point dot normal. The normal of the contact point. The normal of the contact point. Yeah, I think I've gone over half an hour. I feel like we're really close to solving this though. I'm going to delete this bit where we move away from the contact point. Now we have like a really accurate position. I think that's fine. Let's just try this. This might solve it. Because we don't need to offset now because we have a point on the collider. In theory. Start game. Okay, yeah, they're working. The reason they're like flashing is because they're Z fighting. They're working and Z fighting. These not working. So let's just have a look. Where are they spawning in then? If they're not working. Oh, so that is really odd. They're spawning in within the mesh. That is really odd. Oh. That's really annoying. Unity's fault. So this cylinder object that Unity's made has got a capsule collider on it. So the capsule is a slightly different shape to the cylinder. So if I stop that and I get rid of this cylinder and I put in an actual capsule that will be the same shape as the collider, and let's make this now like 5, 5, 5, or 10, 10, 10, or whatever. Press play. Now this is the same shape mesh as the collider. So if I shoot this, the bullets should spawn in where you would expect them to. Okay. It might be Z fighting, that might be the issue with the other ones. But that now should work better than what we just had. Okay, so let's assume it's Z fighting, and we can fix the Z fighting by doing what we were doing a second ago, where we get the contact position and we add the contact point normal times 0.1. Save. Just to nudge it slightly away from the surface. Play. Now we should have fixed it and then I can go to bed. Pause. Full screen. I'm probably not going to have that many curved objects anyway, but still. Okay. It's working. Oh, no it's not. Well, it was working. Sometimes it works. These all work. The flat walls. This sometimes works. Sometimes does not. Like that should work. But see, sometimes it does. And there's no auto aiming, it should just be firing at the firing in a straight line that I'm shooting. Why is this sometimes bullets there? Why is that not working? Pause. Decal projector. That's spawning inside again. Yes, very little distance is needed to fix that. Oh, could it be to do with the rotations? And whether we need to look in the direction of the normal or away from the normal? That could be it. And maybe we actually need to look in the direction of the normal. Play. Elijah Tar says, will you be my Twitch boyfriend? No, sorry. No offense. See, now it's not working there, but it's also sort of not working there either. Minus times 0.2. I'm just going to log off after this attempt. Like, I'm going to press play. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, I'm going. I'm also going if it works. But let's see. Shooting this. That works. That works. Does this work? Oh, it's working. It's working. Hey, it just works now. Cool. We did it. Chat, we did it. Dab. Bringing the dab back. Nice. That's a good place to end the stream. We got bullet holes working. And a follow. Thank you. Alright. Logging off. I'll stream again next week, and I'll be posting clips from the streams on TikTok and YouTube Shorts in the meantime. So we've spent 9 hours on this game so far. I can't tell if it feels like we've spent 9 hours on it, or it feels like we should be further along. Hard to know. Probably feels about right for 9 hours.